This is Larry from YouTube Garden, and today what I'm trying to get started here is a little garden for asparagus. Now what you're looking at doesn't look like a heck of a lot just yet, but what I have is I have some scrap wood. This is scrap wood that I accumulated from an old deck, and there's a scrap railroad tie that I picked up from a neighbor. And again, one case of one man's garbage being another man's treasure. This wood can be used as treated wood for building up a little raised bed garden. The reason you do raised bed gardens with certain vegetables, like I'm going to do for asparagus, is they need to be well drained. And by doing a raised bed, you can put stone underneath on the bottom, and you can also make sure that the soil that they get is completely sterile and new, so that they don't have to compete with weeds that you see here growing quite predominantly. So I'm going to start off by digging the hole, and what I want you to see before I tune out, and we'll come back later, because I want you to see this tool, which is essentially a pick with a shovel attached. This is like the most useful tool when you're digging in tough areas. This area is extremely difficult to dig because there is obviously a lot of stone. At one time this was all stoned and landscaped. So for me to remove this stone, I need to be able to use a tool that's capable of doing so. Let me show you how it's used. Now we've broken through stone. Now if you were to be doing this with a shovel, it would probably take you the rest of your natural born life. The pick will save you an enormous amount of time. Alright, as you can see, we've managed to spend about 45 minutes here clearing out this area, and this is very hard work. We recommend that if you are not physically capable of using a pick shovel or a pick, that you have a local neighborhood kid do it, or maybe a contractor or a good landscaping contractor. Be happy to dig you a hole or two. From here on, though, what you want to do is you're going to fill in this hole with better soil and with a plan along with the wood, and we're going to get to that next. What we have now is we've gone through and we've softened up all the soil underneath, dug up the basic hole. You don't have to dig very deep, but you want to soften up all the soil that's going to be underneath the bed, because you might have to dig deeper than the bed to plant some of the plants that you're going to plant. You want to then just cut your boards. What we like to do is we like to use a front board that's a lot heavier than any of the other boards. Just think it gives it a nicer look after the dirt's in place, and it seems to hold together a little better, but it's not necessary. The rest of it's all just basically treated wood that we've retrieved from an old deck. And what we're going to do is start filling it in. As you can see, we're making a little bit of progress filling it in. What we like to use is basically the soil that was there before mixed in with stone. A little bit of stone helps make the soil drain better from the bottom, and most of the things that you're going to put in a raised bed are the types of plants you want to be draining well. Asparagus, rhubarb, maybe some types of shrubs, and maybe a flower garden. Now, when we get this up to a certain height, probably nice and level relative to the bottom of the boards, we'll fill the rest with a topsoil. It's important to use a topsoil that is more or less inert when it comes out of the bag. What I mean by that is that it's sterile. It has no seeds or weeds in it, otherwise it will grow just about anything that came with it, which is why we don't like to use soil from the yard for the job. Any topsoil will do. The brand is not important. So after about 3 hours of hard work digging and putting in about 10 bags to 12 bags of topsoil over the top of mixed soil that we had from the rest of the garden and some stone, we have our finished bed. We'll be using this bed later to show you how to plant asparagus and how to plant some raspberry bushes. We're going to mix the two in this bed, and it should be quite the yielder, because asparagus will last between 20 and 30 years, so we'll get our money's worth out of this one. Thanks for watching. This is Larry from YouTube Garden.